world out there is too bizarrely unfair. We have to at least give some hope in our classrooms and out say that this is what we're doing.
Part of American democracy, the hope, is to deal with all of these differences, because in one sense, we're a grand experiment. I don't think there's another nation that equals us with having this kind of diversity and saying we all want to come together in some kind of American way and have a strong nation.
If it exists in our dreams, it can exist in the classroom. And as we know, if we can't make it work in a classroom of young children, we're in worse trouble than we thought.
There is no other country quite like America. Our nation created by different people from different lands, languages, and cultures. We are a nation of difference, and that is at once the source of our greatest strength and the root of our most divisive troubles. In school, the first pledge we make is for liberty and justice for all, memorizing by rote the ideals of democracy. The classroom is also the first place that these ideals are tested. People from varied backgrounds, little people in this case, are thrown together and asked to go beyond their differences and create common ground. To live together in harmony, not hatred. This is the story of some of the classrooms across America where children are learning to live the concepts of fairness, cooperation, respect, tolerance. That may sound like a tall order, but even the biggest ideas start small.
Every face is a different color and they're shaped differently.
Some people have black eyes, some people have green, some people have greenish, bluish.
The difference about people is they have different faces and different colors, and they have different languages. The same about people is they walk the same, but not always, because some people have broken legs, and some people have crunches, and some people have to sit in the wheeling chair.
All people are good, but it doesn't matter what color their skin are. They're still good.
You know, my family, I didn't have to live biculturally. You know, Norwegian. You could go to this Norwegian church or that Norwegian church. That was, you know, it. But that's not going to be the way it is for my grandson and for the children after that. All children in America now will live biculturally.
Happy Medium Primary School sits in the heart of Seattle's Central District, a working-class community close to downtown. The school draws students from all over the Seattle area and emphasizes what educators call an anti-bias curriculum.
We look at diversity from a very broad perspective. We look at socioeconomic diversity, we look at ethnicity, we look at religious diversity, we look at family style diversity, and we have all kinds of families that come to the school. And those are their values. They want their children to have that kind of experience.
All right, then, who's ready to go to work?
This year, several of Deborah Goldsberry's students joined the class midterm and missed the fall community building exercises. The classroom unity suffered.
And I started to have to yell at them more. And I heard myself saying, well, you know that. And it sort of hit me suddenly that I was asking these children who had not been a part of our fall community building to be a part of the community. And so I decided to go back to September and redo September. What I really want to talk about today is how special each of you are and how you're really different from anybody else. And the way I want to do that is that I want to do a people colors painting on paper. Now, some of you have done this before and some of you haven't. But the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to decide what color the people in this room are. Children are very, very good observers, and they do notice differences very acutely. And I think that they very much get excited about what color they're going to be. Which one do you think is better?
Cinnamon.
This is cinnamon, and that's mahogany.
Cinnamon.
And then you have these, you know, these big jars of paint that have these wonderful labels on them, like gingerbread and mahogany and olive and terracotta and peach and melon and toast and almond. And they're sitting there dying to know what color they're going to be. And then, of course, we end up mixing colors. And then let's add some mahogany to toast.
No. A little. Yeah.
You think that's pretty close? No. Jordan doesn't. What do you think I need to do instead, Jordan?
That one that you just put in was a little reddish.
Too reddish? Okay. Cinnamon and gingerbread together. Let's see if that's closer to Jordan. Ooh, I think so. I really feel that children have to be honored as individuals and have to be noticed, and we have to speak about differences before children can move on and build a community.
Talking about differences isn't always easy. It takes practice. Darby is one of the students who came to Deborah's class later in the year.
And the school he came from really did not engage in a lot of anti-bias or multicultural activities. And so when, you know, it was his turn, he just said, "I'm white," and why not? He didn't have another name for it yet. And the children's immediate reaction was to sort of jump on him.
Nobody's white.
Okay, nobody is white.
Nobody's gray and dull, right? See, nobody's white like this.
Right, nobody's white like the floor, and nobody's white like...
See here, he's white.
Okay. So why can you say he's not white? What does that mean to you when he says he's white?
It means to me when he says he's white, he's like white like socks.
Oh, okay. Darby, what do you mean when you say you're white?
I have white skin.
Do you have light skin? Hold your hand out next to Jordan's.
White or light?
Okay. So let's compare your skin, Darby, to the lid of this paint. Is this lid white? Is your arm that color?
No.
No. And that's why Kenny said you're not white. He didn't mean that you didn't have light skin, because you do, right? So one of the things we decided when we first did this in the fall is that we were, instead of saying that any person was white, we were going to actually call them the color of the skin that they are. So what we're going to do is find out what color your skin is, okay? Is that all right? Let's try peach for Darby.
Peach alone.
Give it a minute here.
I can see it.
Do we have a peach kid?
I can't see it.
Are you a peach?
I can see it.
What it does is it focuses every eye on that child, and it makes them feel great for exactly who they are. Darby especially, and all the other children were very excited for him, and of course, so he felt part of the group. Now, Darby, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If somebody says, "What color's your skin?" What are you going to say?
Peach.
Yeah.
These are the kids of the future. And I think it's our country's greatest work right now, is that we have to find out how we belong together. Not what drives us apart, not what's irresponsible, but who we are as a country.
Yeah, they really look brown.
The main modeling that teachers have to demonstrate in that kind of environment, a multicultural environment, is to show respect and interest in differences. I think if a teacher behaves as if she's afraid or indifferent to differences, or even rejecting of differences in her behavior or in her nonverbal communications, I think the children will pick up on it. The teacher has to, herself or himself, respect a multicultural environment and transmit that message to their students.
We must create the feeling that everyone is equally a worthwhile individual, equally worthwhile. And we do this by constantly pointing out what is unique about every child and what we all have in common. By sheer maturation, you will learn how to hold a pencil, and you will learn how to color inside of a line, and you will learn how to skip. But the idea of learning how to be a friend, act like a friend, and teach someone else how to be a friend, there is the basis of tolerance.
To make friends, I first ask them their names, how old are they, when is their birthday, then you want to be my friend, then we go play. Hold their hand, give them a hug. I kind of like them to sit with me and talk with me for a while. You have to help people. Now, if I had a piece of candy, I don't like candy, but if I had a piece of candy and he didn't have none and he would like some, I would share it with them. That's how you make friends, when you share and cooperate.
I found this today when I was looking through some stuff, and it's a really old picture. How many of you were in this picture at the very beginning of the year? Raise your hand. Why do you suppose that I no longer have this picture up?
I know.
Why do you think, Matthew?
Because all the kids aren't in it now.
That's right.
Barbara's not in it, Shay's not in it, Nana's not in it, Salva's not in it. Susanna's in there.
One of the things I did at the beginning of this week was I took everything off the walls because I wanted everything to be new, because I wanted everything to be something that the whole group had done together. You did something yesterday that we could make our very own group photo with. And you know what that is?
Our faces.
Yeah, your people portraits.
I love your face. I wanna put it all up, all over the place. You're a superstar, just the way that you are with your face. Oh, look at that face. Well, I love your smile. I wanna hear you laugh for a long, long while. I'm stuck on you with all the things that you do with that smile. It's your smile I'm talking about, and your face.
Reading, writing, and arithmetic. Everyone knows that these are the basics of education. But we sometimes forget that the classroom is also the learning ground for lessons even more fundamental.
School teaches us how to behave in society. And you do need to learn the skills of sharing public life with everyone.
I like your pictures. Everybody's doing a great job. Yeah, I like everybody's picture. Could you tell me who's in your picture?
Lourdes Ballesteros Baron teaches kindergarten at North Miami Elementary, a public school serving over 2,000 children. When she began teaching, Lourdes found her optimism challenged by the realities in her students' lives.
I have children that come from broken homes, that have been abused, so the children that I have come, you know, with different feelings and different ways of expressing their anger. And I had one little boy that threw a rock at a child, and he was bleeding, and he was laughing at that, you know, he thought that was funny. So I was surprised that at such a young age they could be so violent, and it wasn't bothering them that they were being that way. So it was my first year teaching, and then I was negative, and I was trying to be tough to overcome their toughness, and it was kind of like a war, who was going to be the toughest, and it wasn't getting me anywhere. That's a great picture. So it was kind of like first a transition for me and my attitude and the way I was with the kids. Okay, I'm going to focus on the positive, and I'm going to try to help children focus on the positive themselves. How did the duck end up helping her? What'd she do? She said thank you? Wow, that's great. Danielle, did you talk to Brittany about your problem?
Lourdes discovered the Miami Peace Education Foundation, which offers materials for teaching children respect and caring. One pillar of the program is the I Care rules.
They have 5 I Care rules, and they're posted close to my desk back there. Okay, and we listen to each other. Hands are for helping, not hurting. We use I Care language. We care about each other's feelings, and we are responsible for what we say and do. And those are the main 5 I Care rules. But, yes? Who thinks they know this story? So whenever there's a story that a character has a problem that needs to be solved, we'll talk about how we could use the I Care rules we're learning in the class to fix a book. Think her friends are gonna help her plant the wheat? No! Who could give her some ideas? What are some things a little red hen could say?
The little red hen should say, "Can you help me?" Nobody didn't help me.
You could eat the apple later.
Once we start talking about it and we role play and I give them situations and I read them stories, then they start getting the understanding of what the whole concept of the I Care rules are. Okay, Lachey, you're gonna be the little red hen. It just helps them understand, well, we could make things better. And it lets them know that even though they're kindergarten, they could think of solutions for these problems.
When I'm finished playing the game, I'll help you later.
Mm-hmm. Okay, she's pinching you? Do you want to go to the peace table and talk to her? Would that make you feel a little bit better? Okay, Cassandra, George wants to talk to you at the peace table because you were pinching him. Could you go to the peace table and talk over there? I put the peace table close to my desk just because I think it'll make them feel a little bit comfortable there. It's kind of away from the rest of the class, but at the same time, they're not felt like if they're being put in a corner.
The peace table is for small people what international diplomacy is for adults. It's neutral ground for discussing differences and resolving conflicts.
Why were you hitting? Why were you pinching me? He was doing like this and you lied at me like that.
No, I wasn't. But no, I wasn't.
You can't lie. But you can know. But
Yes.
you gotta know the I Care language or I Care rules.
Oh, okay.
By the end of the year, they could go through the whole step by themselves in such a way that they don't need to be at the peace table, because the goal is that no matter where you're at, you could solve your problem. You could talk about your problems in the cafeteria. You could talk about it in the playground. I don't want them to memorize them like class rules. I want it to be a way of them to live. And I want them to have a peaceful classroom. And that's how they start understanding the whole concept of caring, because that's what it is.
Peace means sharing. You don't say bad things to people. You say good things to people. Peace means don't hurt anybody.
I think peace means helping.
For many, many children today, school is the place that makes the most sense. School is the island of safety. The task of the teacher, to put it in the simplest terms, is to be nice, to do everything possible, to be nice to all the children, to set a model for niceness. It allows the child to take the risk of being nice himself or herself to someone else.
Good morning, Charlotte. Thank you. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Bowman. Thank you. Good morning, Cody. Good morning, Ian. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Ashanti. How are you? Eric, good morning again. Thank you. I see our young people who are getting into gangs and who feel so disconnected from everyone and everything. And someone said something to me once that really struck me very deeply. A young boy was asked who would be disappointed if he joined the gangs, and he said he couldn't think of anyone.
In Denver, Linda Alston introduces her kindergarten class to the world beyond the neighborhood of Mitchell Montessori School.
I felt the more that children began to feel connected to their community, that they could start to see people around them as heroes and sheroes, that they would feel safer, that they would feel more loved. They would start to think, well, just like I met Mr. Joe, and look how much he loves us, maybe all these people, or maybe, 10 more people out here really love me, and I just don't know that yet. What do you think a hero is? What is a hero?
It's somebody that keeps you out of the way of something bad. Somebody that saved your life.
Yes. Now, when we talk about heroes, I like to say heroes and sheroes because that lets us know that we can include boys and who else? Girls. Boys and girls as well. Very good. Now, who can name someone that you think a hero would be a hero to you? Please, Catherine.
President Clinton.
President Clinton. You think he's a hero? Okay. Let's see. Raphael.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Ben.
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas. Okay, Ben, thank you. And finally, did you know that a hero or a shero could be someone in your own family? Did you know that?
Like your mom or something.
Yes, exactly, Catherine, like your mom or your dad. This is my aunt. Is someone that he or she can trust, can be honest with, can be authentic with. Because she loved all people. Is someone who's always there for them as they see it. Abby, who is a hero or shero for you?
My cousin.
Your cousin? Why?
Because they're all of my friends.
They're all your friends? Okay. Anybody else think of a hero? Okay, Ashanti.
My daddy, he protects me from ghosts because he locks the doors, and when I'm scared of scary dreams, but I hide under my covers.
Mr. Joe is a hero for them because Mr. Joe is kind. The first time we met him, I'll never forget it. He was so approachable and so gentle and so kind. And he's always that way. And so for them, Mr. Joe meets every criteria for a hero for them and for me. Good morning.
Good morning.
I would like to introduce you to another one of our heroes in the community. This is Brother Nantambu. Can you say his name?
Brother
Children, this is my great grandma, and her name is Catherine, and she's 90 years old.
I would like to introduce you to a friend. We all know her from the Ford Warren Library. Children, this is Mr. Jerry Brown of the Lakota tribe. Would you acknowledge him and welcome him, please? Teaching multicultural education, if you will, is something that I never let up on. It's not something, well, this is Black History Month, let's study about Harriet Tubman and then that's over with. This is an everyday situation for us.
The Mawabi tree is in your heart.
The Montessori philosophy it's an international philosophy, and we're really interested in having children of the world be together, and that's our curriculum. It's an international curriculum.
What language will you count in, Ruby?
Kiswahili.
Okay, do you want us to count with you or will you count alone? Ben, please.
Count with.
Okay.
Moja. And Bailey. Tatu.
The more aware and the more familiar they are with different ways of speaking, different languages, they will start to understand that there is nothing innately superior about one language compared to another one, but they're just, in fact, different languages.
Viva Mexico! Viva! Asia, Australia, Europe, North America, South America. Let's do the continental. Ni hao is China, and hello in English is hello.
Bonjour, that's in French. Konnichiwa, that's in Japanese.
I can speak Spanish.
A bit German. My favorite one's India.
My favorite country was China.
It goes down in here this way, see? So if you have something in there you want.
At Mitchell, the world comes into the classroom, and the children are encouraged in their curiosity about other people's lives.
They want to know, and they're not afraid. They have not learned yet, you see, that it's not politically correct to ask this question.
Yes.
How can you put that on?
Well, I'm going to show you right now.
That blue stuff is made of blanket.
Yeah, it's made of blankie. Yeah, it's made from yarn.
How does buffaloes take a bath?
Okay, because where a lot of buffalo were, there wasn't a lot of water.
Any question for the monk?
What did he eat? What did the monks eat?
What do the monks eat? Let me pass this question to the monk. ก็ถามว่าพระฉันอะไรคะ
ก็ฉันข้าว
Same like rice.
We enhance ourselves by partaking of music and dance and the perspective of other groups of people, as well as makes it more comfortable for us in the workplace and our jobs. And I think that the people in the future who master those kinds of skills, to work with a variety of type of people, to appreciate them, are going to be the people who are going to be selected for leadership positions, because we're going to need people with those kinds of skills to make it all work.
Linda also teaches the children that their curiosity must come with respect for difference.
Okay, are there any questions? Yes.
That song had a little funny sound. It had a funny.
Why was it funny?
I didn't say anything right then. When Mr. Brown concluded his presentation, I called all the children to me.
Now, the reason we're having this talk is because when Mr. Brown was speaking, some people were making comments that something was funny that he was saying or when he was dancing. If you were going to visit at another school or at a place, let's say you went to another country and you speak English, how would you feel if somebody said, "Ooh, that girl talks funny," or "Ooh, oh, that boy sounds funny. How would that make you feel?
Sad.
That would make you feel sad, wouldn't it? So what's another word we could use instead of saying that something sounds funny?
I say that it sounds nice. You have a pretty voice.
You can say it sounds pretty.
Beautiful.
Now, sometimes we're not used to different things. What's another word we could use instead of saying that something sounds funny?
New.
New. Ben, that's a good word. Do you like that word? Because it's new and maybe we didn't hear it before. That's excellent. Thank you, Ben.
It's not enough just to say, okay, we're just collecting facts about Native Americans or about African American people, but to really create something that comes from the heart.
Mr. Joe, we're having a luncheon in our classroom tomorrow. I'll be happy and really honored to have you as one of our elders to come to our luncheon in our classroom.
And I will definitely be there.
Okay.
It's an honor for me to be there. I love cheering, and because I was one myself. Oh, yeah. You got 3, yeah. That was good.
Around the tables, 4 generations and a dozen cultures share a meal. For their guests, the children sing a new song, Asante, meaning thank you.
Asante, asante sana.
Asante sana papa. Asante.
I'm constantly working on that so that they can value all people. It's just that simple.
Asante sana papa. Asante sana.
Ideas like cooperation and respect are abstract ones for young minds. How can a teacher or a parent make these concepts real for a child? It helps to use the tools of a child.
Pretend. Pretend that you're doing this and I'm doing this. Play. It's the original abstract thinking. It is what every child comes into school at the earliest age knowing how to do by virtue of being a human being. How to play, how to imagine stories. It is, in fact, the way children learn.
Everybody come and sit at the welcome table.
In Aptos, California, teacher Eric Hoffman uses puppets and play acting to explore diversity and enlarge his preschool community.
Table with all your friends. He says, "What happened to my backpack? Oh, hold on." The children really think of the puppets as alive and as other members of the classroom. And the children start to care about them and think of them as friends. We've got a story with Mickey, and Juan and Marisol's going to come too, right? So one of the things that does is it allows me to bring in people into the classroom that may not really be here. Representatives of different groups or people with different kinds of families. I've got 2 characters that are brother and sister, one that lives some of the times with a father, some of the times with a mom. I'll be introducing a new character soon that has 2 moms. And then the goal, of course, is to get the children talking about what happens within their families, too.
We're going to Grandma's house up in the snow.
Up in the snow? It also allows me to have the puppets say things that want the children to hear it so we can talk about it. So Harvey, for example, I use him a lot to break the rules and to do things that are not fair. And then I hid his dog.
That's not a good idea.
You don't think that's a good idea? I think that there is a feeling of injustice that they get. But it's important for the adults to come in and give it some labels. The dog, because she doesn't think it's fair for me to hide his dog.
For preschoolers, the secret to getting along is very simple. It all centers on what's fair.
Can I try to play a trick on Juan?
Yes.
You want to play a trick on Juan? Your friend Juan? What kind of trick? It sounds like it's fun. I could take his glasses and I could hide them.
No.
Think I should do that? No, you don't think I should do that?
No.
Gabriel says no to that. Why do you think you say no?
Not fair.
You don't think it's fair. At this age, fair and unfair are kind of the things that they can understand that can be built on to really talking about justice in the world. Well, I'm going to give everybody a turn. But I'm going to on a preschool level, we're not going to take them out and talk to them about the history of the country and all of that. It's just not appropriate for the age. But what's appropriate is that issue of fairness and unfairness, because that comes from them.
Fair means that it's good.
When I buy 2 things and I give it to my friend, that means it's fair. It means if somebody else does something for you, you do something else for them.
Fair, that's good. And fair, that's beautiful. And fair, that's wonderful.
Fair is when everybody gets a sticker, and what's not fair is when someone doesn't get a sticker and everybody else gets a sticker.
For young children, fairness begins with the self, but it's a concept that can be built upon and extended outward.
As they get older, we begin to then have a capacity to teach them a little bit about empathy. That is, what does it feel like to the other person? In fact, in a lot of anti-violence prevention programs, what they try to help to teach even older children is feelings of empathy.
In early childhood, some children still haven't gotten past themselves, into empathy. We push empathy a lot because a lot of the students need help with skills in those areas.
In New Haven, Connecticut, the students at Edgewood Elementary have the benefit of a rich mix of classmates. But there are always new faces encountered for the first time. For teacher Mary Stewart, the secret to harmony is building a common bond.
The single most important thing I feel like when teaching tolerance is getting right down to a very basic thing, to be able to speak to each other. If you can get them to that point, to talk to each other, well, all of a sudden, their similarities, their differences become interesting.
Terrence, Michelle, you're going to be the first 2 to work with Jose today.
Jose came from a work program and happened to wear hearing aids and happened to use a cane, so they became parts of our discussion.
We're going to play family circle with a rhythm stick, okay? What I want you to do is...
He's just an aide in my room who works with small groups.
I want you guys to follow me, all right?
He volunteered to come in as an aide to work with music with my students. And that's who he is. He's talented at it, he's wonderful at it, and along the way, they've learned a lot. Also, with all of this, you take work home. They had to go home and blindfold all their people in their family and talk about what it was like to walk around that way. That's why today we have small groups like doing blind art. Well, they do that every week. It's not like one day you do blind art. I don't work that way.
What is it?
A snowman.
A snowman.
We need every kind of difference to give us confidence in being able to live with every kind of difference.
K3, if you remember my friend that I told you was gonna visit us this week, can you show me yes? My friend Rebecca sent us a present, and I'm going to bring the present in right now.
Wheelchair.
It seems like, for some reason in early childhood, you don't see people that have special needs.
A wheelchair.
I am happy when someone that maybe signs or someone that has that has a special need is in my room. I'm happy for it because it's a great learning experience for them. They may never speak to someone who raises a family, who works, who's living in a wheelchair. Dear K3, I cannot wait to visit your school. Please let me know which door is wheelchair accessible. Guess what Rebecca sits in?
Wheelchair.
A wheelchair. But if Rebecca's in a wheelchair, can she go upstairs?
Yes.
Let's see if there's a clue in this package to how to get Rebecca in our building. Oh, look, what is it?
A wheelchair.
Is it as big as this one?
No.
Okay, let's see. Rebecca's not gonna fit in there, is she? What's that called?
A ramp.
What is this?
A ramp.
If this little guy can go on a ramp to get somewhere, can we put Rebecca on this ramp?
Yeah. No. We need to get her a real one so she can get up there, a real one and a long one.
A long one, a big one, a real one. Okay, but where can we get a big ramp for Rebecca? I don't know where they are any.
Yeah,
Isaac?
Bring a piece of wood and make it.
We can bring a piece of wood in?
Oh, I know now. You a computer.
Despite the excitement, there are still some misunderstandings. And it's usually misunderstanding that makes differences frightening.
How come, Brianna?
Because my mother friend got eggs in her stomach and she died.
Brianna, did the wheelchair make you think, no, did that make you think of someone dying?
She wasn't in a wheelchair. She was in a bed and then she died.
Okay, but are you worried, I'm saying? Is this making you scared about this? People sometimes think if they see someone in a wheelchair, they sometimes think, like a big one like this, that they're very sick. Do you have to be very sick to be in a wheelchair?
Yes.
Sean, why?
Because if you sit in a wheelchair too long enough, you'll die.
Guess what? They don't. Some people are born and their legs don't work like a machine, and the wheelchair just helps them get around. It doesn't mean they'll get hurt, that they're hurt. It doesn't mean
But
they'll
how
die.
are they gonna get up?
How do they get up?
Yeah.
You want to know something? You can ask Rebecca that when she comes. I don't know how Rebecca gets up. And that's the next big question. Where do we build the ramp? How about after lunch, we walk around with our wheelchair and we try all the doors? Where do you think, Terrence?
At the front door.
Terrence thinks we should try the front door. Nathaniel?
At the back door.
Timna?
The side door.
Sean?
We could build a ramp over there.
You mean the door to the playground? Okay, so far, which is the shortest place to get it over?
Yeah.
Okay, so where would you like to build the ramp? Okay. These cones are gonna be on the obstacle course. You have to drive around them in your wheelchairs. But can you use your legs?
Yeah.
No. And think about it. What would it be like if you couldn't use your legs? Do you think your arms are strong enough to do this?
No.
No? Okay, we're gonna find out today.
The dictionary defines empathy as the action of understanding. When Rebecca does visit, K3 will have experiences to bring to the conversation.
Kevin, Larry, what was it like to be in the wheelchairs today?
This was fun.
You think it was fun, Kevin?
It was hard for me.
Timna?
It was scary, and I felt like I was gonna fall down on my feet.
Now, are you stuck? What would you do if you were really stuck here?
Tell somebody to help.
So you have to yell help? Okay, let me hear.
Help! Help!
All right, then I'll come over and say, excuse me, what's wrong?
I got stuck.
Okay, do you want me to help you move? Okay. Then I'm gonna help you. You take over when you think it's time. Can you take over? Hey, Brianna, can I ask you something? How do you think someone would feel if they had to scream for help every time they got stuck? Would they like it? No. Good signing. I found out that the numbers of people that sign are incredible. I knew some sign. It was a great technique, it was fun. I had students who, developmentally, they didn't scooch around, they're physical. And when I started signing, when they'd see my hands move, well, all of a sudden, they focused in on me. Excellent. But it was great because one day someone was walking down the block here and they were signing. And an older student said, they went up what's that? What's with those people? And my little Ozzy came up and said, well, what's wrong? She's signing to him. And they said, what? He said, she's talking to him. And the kid said, oh, I didn't know. I have all these little pieces of wood. It's not always an issue of skin tones. It's not always economics. Male, female. I tell them I was in the Army. They go, no way. I'm like, yes way. Like, you're too little. You're too this, you're too that. I said, oh yeah? They said, wow, you can handle tools? I said, why couldn't I handle a tool? Well, you're a mom. Moms can't do that. I said, yeah, I'm a mom. And you know what? I can do this. Mary will be doing the woodworking. Watch out for your hand. I was laughing. Someone said, you could pre-drill those holes for the kids so it's easier. I said, I don't want it to be easier. I want to know how hard it is to put that one little nail in that ramp. And they have a whole new appreciation. No job is alone. Every job is dependent on the person behind them. So everyone is just as important. And is it flush? Let's see how Rebecca uses what we made for her. Rebecca, we have a sign. K3, stand around the ramp for her. We bought a sign that says, wheelchair accessible. And we're gonna hang it up.
I've never had a decorated ramp before, and it is beautiful. Thank you so much.
The children have a new friend, and conversation strengthens the bond.
How do you get to work?
Well, I looked all over New Haven for an office that had a ramp. There really wasn't great office space in New Haven with good parking. But what I decided to do was to turn a room in my house into an office. So my patients come to my house and come to my office in my house.
Around to go to the...
If I could wish something on every child in the world, we'd feel good enough about themselves and their environment to have the confidence just to talk to the person in front of them. Because, well, what is tolerance? It's care about that person. Care enough to say, I want you to be a part of what we are.
Yeah, it's good to be different. If we were all the same, we would think the same, we would do the same, we would go to the bathroom at the same time, we would have the same mother, it would be kind of boring.
We are a people and a nation of infinite variety. And the hope that unites us is that from all of our splendid difference, we may come together as equals and friends. There is no one way to teach tolerance. There are as many possibilities as there are children, teachers, parents, and communities. What matters is that we start. And everything is easier when you start small.
The teacher, I think, is in the preeminent position, more so than the doctor, the lawyer, or any other profession I can think of, to invent a kind society.
In my short lifespan, I have seen enormous changes. So I think we've moved a long way in one sense, but we haven't broken down all of the barriers. And that's why I think this whole movement of multiculturalism and people working together has not begun any moment too soon.
The classroom. It's probably the only place left, small enough, ideal enough circumstances, where you can actually pretend a good, safe, fair world. We'd better not forget how this kind of a world is made and what it looks like. And do it. It can be done.
If I had the perfect world, I would have sunny days and blue sky. Clean air, clean earth, and clean grass.
If it was a perfect world, there shouldn't be guns.
That's a tough one.
No fighting, no hating.
Maybe I should tell them to get along with each other somehow and be good to each other and love each other.
Treat everybody fair.
I would say, no, don't fight. Because that's not how the way it's supposed to be. Nice things supposed to be.
Without killing people and without doing drugs. It wouldn't help. And without hate.